Alright guys, in today's video I want to talk to you about how to get off carnivore and what's the best next protocol to do once you get off. Do you go back to low carb, high fat, or do you go over to keto omnivore? Now, I have come to understand that the carnivore diet just isn't sustainable for a long time, and often people will say, well, what about this person and that person? What sort of you guys don't know is those people don't always tell you everything. It's very difficult to sit and promote and push an ideology or a diet that really isn't making people feel that well. They're not going to talk about it. I mean, that's like career suicide. That's why. And but I'm here to tell you guys what's really going on, because I work with so many people, and then when carnivore became so popular, I began to work with people who are doing carnivore and start seeing the same exact issues. And so now I'm helping people transition off of it, strict carnivore, and onto a more sustainable lifestyle that will make them super fit, healthy, young, excited for life, no matter how crazy things are. Doesn't matter. Because if you feel good, you can make better critical decision making. So now I did carnivore for almost a year. I instantly started having the whole bloat problem, and I've eaten thousands of avocados and had a ton of cruciferous vegetables, but I was starting to bloat on them. And so now, like I've explained in my prior videos, enzymes like diamine oxidase tend to go because of the lack of diversity of mainly animal fat, then protein, and then the diversification of plants. Unfortunately, when you're just completely strict carnivore, DAO or diamine oxidase tends to drop. And so when people try to get back on to those diets, not only is their gut flora messed up, which I'll go in more into, but diamine oxidase tends to drop. Why didn't I turn down my volume? Well, it's too late now. Let's just hope they don't keep leaving messages or I'll have to start over again. Actually, I'm going to pause this and turn off my volume. Just got to use my critical thinking, you know. Just rub two brain cells together. Just stop it's not live. I'm so used to doing live videos, you guys, which I'm going to get back to very soon, because I'm moving off the Titanic and going to greener pastures, literally. So basically, the enzyme goes, what I've explained before in other videos is that different foods bring different bacteria strains to the gut. And prebiotic fiber definitely helps to populate that bacteria you want, cultivation of those good microbes. And because people are eating a bunch of beef, then unfortunately they don't have that diversification, and things like diamine oxidase drops. And then they try to go back to plants because they were trying to do carnivore for weight loss, which no one should do. You should do it because you have some type of autoimmunity or leaky gut or histamine or mast cell activation. But people try to go back to the foods that they loved, and then they can't, and they're kind of stuck. But you're not stuck. You can go off of these diets. Now, if you had histamine intolerance, already had low diamine oxidase before doing carnivore, and you were using that, use carnivore for sort of like a GAPS diet, an elimination of things that could be causing an inflammatory reaction, either from sulfurs or from all the anti-nutrients in foods, whatever the case may be. Clean it out, use carnivore for a few months, 2, 3 at best, then go off and start graduating yourself back on. Now, I don't really like anyone to do strict carnivore, so if you go off of all plant matter, I would say within a few weeks, months would be the like absolute max you should do this. Within a few weeks, you should start slowly introducing back plants by a tablespoon, just a spoonful, that's it. Because people are addicts to food, so they have one bite, they want to have another. But unfortunately, when you don't have the diamine oxidase, and this is what I did with the avocado, I would have like a bite or two, and I was like, I was like, okay, but I can tolerate that. It's just for a minute. And then I would continue to build up each day. And then all of a sudden I forgot that I wasn't able to eat them because I was like, avocado, blah, blah, blah. Now, a lot of you guys don't like avocados, so you might have a latex allergy or some sensitivity to avocado because it is a high histamine food. But when you start to repair that gut wall, it's next level. Now, I've been working with Sarah for a while, and we've become friends, and now she's doing stuff that I think is awesome to improving her health. And one thing is that she has an affiliate program with Thrive. I don't, but she does, and she does gut testing. So she did this on herself. She wasn't just promoting something that she wasn't trying herself. And she noticed that the foods that she wasn't able to eat before, she's able to eat now, because she never really liked the idea, this is what she told me, to only be able to eat meat and never be able to eat plants. Well, now because of finding out what microbes that her body needed, now she's able to introduce back some of these foods without a problem. So I'm really on the fence with probiotics. A lot of you guys have mast cell activation. Like, don't go and get kefir and kombucha and sauerkraut and willy-nilly just start getting raw milk thinking, oh, I'm going to heal myself. Because just because somebody else is doing that doesn't mean that'll work for you. So you have to baby step. Now, I believe that everybody should do keto omnivore, but I'm somewhat biased because that's the diet I choose. Now, how you go off, like I said, is you microdose. But you have to decide what elements you have to then decide, do I go to keto omnivore and have a more diversification of plants, which I think is a great place to be, or is my hypoglycemia or thyroid symptoms so bad to where, boop, I've got to go to low carb, high fat. Now, those are the only two reasons why I really suggest for people to go to bypass keto omnivore, go to low carb, high fat until your body can sort of heal the gallbladder. Oh, they have gallbladder too. Heal the gallbladder up. You're able to balance your blood sugar, so the thyroid's happy. The blood sugar for hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia with high blood sugar. When all that becomes imbalanced, you then back to the keto land, which I love. Okay, the problem with carnivore is that people are doing it for weight loss, and so they don't eat enough fat. They have this fear of fat, thinking that they're going to get fat. I don't know how many people still ask me about calories. I'm like, y'all, please just go read a book about hormones. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's not about your calories. It's about hormones. A lot of men challenge me on this, but it's mostly women that develop, some men for sure, thyroid issues, estrogen dominance, where they don't understand why I still keep packing weight around that middle area. And men don't understand it. Women start taking their calories down to 500 and they still can't get that off. Let's keep it real. Men can't get off the freaking love handles either. So they're just in denial. Okay. All right. So if you're hypoglycemia, if you have chronic fatigue and you're tired all the time, you're tired, you eat a breakfast, you crash. So you don't eat a breakfast. Then you go and you might have a lunch and then you crash, right? And then you're tired all the time, or you're tired all the time. Then you might have to go to low carb, high fat until you're able to train your body to be ketotic, to rely on fat as its major source of fuel. There's a lot of moving parts, but once you guys understand it, it's an easy way to kind of figure out what you guys need as an individual. So forget what somebody else is doing online. It doesn't matter what they're doing. Plus, chances are they're not going to tell you the whole truth. They'll tell you like pinches of the truth and feel like they're being honest. Now, electrolytes is another really important thing when you're making these decisions why you might be feeling bad, especially on carnivore. Now, with that said, if you're going to do carnivore for the short term, rotate your meats, fatty meats, find out which meats have the high histamine and do that the lesser out of the week. So you might do, let's say, if you're reacting to pork, do that just one time out of the week. If you do better with beef or lamb, then keep rotating those two and then peekaboo and some salmon or peekaboo and some chicken. That's how it goes. Make sure you take in your organ meats. When you transition, let's say to low carb, high fat, you're going to do 1/3 to 1/2 cup of carbs 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're going to be higher in fat, but not ketotic. So your fats are going to be under 200, depending on your size, your sex, your activity, you know, male or female. And your activity level, you're going to be anywhere from 100 grams of fat to 150 grams of fat on low carb, which is not ketotic. You're not in ketosis. You're still carb dependent, blood sugar dependent, which is not fun to be at because you still crash. You do on carbs. That's why a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to go back. I like white rice because all of the junk has been bleached out. That's why Asian dynasties and kings and queens had the white rice, and the peasants had the brown rice, is because of the arsenic and the phytic acid in the whole, in the meat, and then the whole was arsenic. For the brown rice, and quinoa is really poisonous. A lot of people don't understand this. I would go off the salads for all you salad eating people. You really need to heal that gut wall and tighten, seal the wall so it's not open. You can tighten the wall by going to bed early, having 1/3 cup to 1/2 cup of rice, depending on your activity level, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, for those who are doing low carb, high fat, and I'll do more an extensive video on this, you can add things like yellow squash, maybe some raspberries, very low glycemic in sugar or fructose to keep your blood sugar stable. And then eventually, you would have about 2 tablespoons of fat per meal. And then eventually you're going to start upping your fat and dropping the carbs, going over to keto omnivore. For those who are good with keto omnivore, oh, it's so amazing. You can have your cruciferous vegetables, which is your broccoli, your cauliflower, your cabbage, your asparagus, your maybe green beans, which is not cruciferous, but a little bit here and there. For those who've got good GLUT4 receptor development, which I'll explain that in another video, why some people are able to add squash and a little bit more carbohydrate, but most people can't because it makes their blood sugar spike. But this is how you go off. And if you're going straight over to keto, it's a no-brainer. Just stop. Do not eat 2 pounds of beef. Men need to be between, depending on your size and activity and muscle mass, 60 to about 95 grams of protein per day. You break that up 3 times a day. Yes, forget the fasting. Okay, that's getting you guys in a lot of electrolyte issue, like blood sugar dysregulation, and on and on and on. Then you're going to eat over 200 grams of fat. So that's 200 to 350. If you're a really tall guy, 6'4", active, you're going to go over 300. If you are a woman, most women are tighter in that range. They sit around 200 to 220, 240. Yeah, that's a really good place to sit. 200 is always a good baseline for total fat. It's amazing, primarily coming from animal fat. And you don't need to have any starches, and you can eat your 3 meals a day, and you can get in broth if you don't have a histamine reaction to it. I'm going to go more extensively into probiotics and what are the most common probiotics that people tend to use to heal that gut, or what people are more deficient in, because everybody's different, but there's a couple that are like the lactobacillus family is typically the common one that people are lacking in. But with that said, I hope that's a good start on how to transition off. Please transition off. People are developing thyroid issues, blood sugar dysregulation, kidney issues from chronic dehydration and eating 2 pounds of beef, or even 1 pound of beef for some women. It's too much a day. You do not need to do that. Women's protein is between 45. That's if you're a shorty. It's around 50 to 55 is common, to 60, max 65 grams of protein a day for a woman, depending on how active she is, and her muscle mass and how tall she is, and age, activity level. All right, guys, to learn more, go to stephanieperson.com. I'm offering a course where I go over all this stuff. It's only $15 a month, but it's really extensive and it's awesome. Also, you can sign up for that, stephanieperson.com. My calendar is completely open, guys. stephanieperson.com for a booking for a consultation. Every time I open it up, the dates can go kind of fast, so get in there. Next month when I move, I'll have a lot more dates because I'll be living where my horse is. And my Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook is Stephanie the Business Person, and I'm out. Peace. Yeah. Don't forget always to go to my girl Carnivore Yogi's channel to see how her evolution of her body becoming and getting amazing is. And I'm out. Peace.